I'm in a coma. I am so full.
Yeah,
So.
well, we're starting this next episode.
Yeah,
Still at Moses' house.
Yeah, we are.
After how many burgers?
I had 3.
You guys are more than welcome to stay until 1 more hour.
And he's kicking us out. I think Jen, was it you made the comment like every time we should have more guests instead of like we should have more guest interviews instead of doing what we're about to do today on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time we have guest interviews and stuff, we always get fed. We get free food.
We got plenty of food from Moses.
A lot of food.
Extra burgers if anybody wants to stop by.
Especially if you guys come back, this episode's probably going to air about a month from recording.
Still
the burgers will still be here.
I can't even breathe right now.
I'm about to pass out.
We take care of our people.
You guys ever watch, or you guys ever read Archie comics?
Oh, yeah, of course. Jughead. Yeah,
that big plate of burgers that he goes get to the cafe? Yeah, Karis has no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't know what that is.
Did they come out with like a show, a real life show on it?
Yeah, the show, but
and it was like gangster, like
dark.
Jughead was kind of badass.
Yeah, I didn't like it. We watched like one season and then stopped watching it.
Call me old school, but I feel like it was a little over sexualized too.
It was.
It was on the CW. I mean,
they were trying to make it like more appealing to like the younger crowd.
Yeah, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, same thing.
We stopped watching that too.
Super sexualized and everything.
I'm very dark.
What was the first show you said? I didn't hear it.
So it was
Riverdale. It's called Riverdale.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
it was based on Archie comics.
Based on the Archie comics, so they had like
the
Jughead, the characters. Yeah.
And we were talking about Jughead because of the burgers, the amount of burgers.
Comical.
Literally.
I saw you laying the meats. I was like, how many does he?
He's got the meats.
So they're sliders. They were supposed to be sliders. I didn't realize they were going to be as big as they were, and I assumed that they were going to shrink too, but they didn't really shrink.
That's what she said.
So moral is that Moses' meat does not shrink.
Are we going to keep that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's keep it.
That's the kind of podcast that we're having today.
Reputation earned.
So after these burgers, are you guys focused yet?
I am. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I think Jen's ready to start this podcast.
Only because we have an hour until an escape room. And if you guys follow us on social for the past...
What time does it start?
6 months or so. 7:20.
Yeah.
So we got to be out here in an hour and like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've seen the Laos, the Cruises, and the Molinas have done many escape rooms in the past 6 months. Between Imaging USA and WPPI, we've done like...
Several.
So many.
We've done 6.
You know what the funny thing is? The Cruises, this is, I think, their first year doing this. And then once they've started, they've
Moses could not be stopped.
So I'm typically a bit of like an old man when it comes to stuff like that. And I remember the first day that it got suggested.
Yeah.
I think Jen suggested it. And I was walking with Ro. I forgot where we were.
We were in Memphis.
Yeah. And Jen's like, let's do an escape room. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I remember.
Moses doesn't like doing anything.
And then I did one. And
then...
I was like, oh my God. And I think we ended up doing 3 that night.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you were doing most of the puzzles. Like not leaving any puzzles for the rest of us.
He thinks he's in National. Which one? National?
So one of my favorite movies when I was younger was National Treasure. And I was...
With Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
So between every city that we went to, Imaging and then WPPI, we've probably did like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
What, all of us together. And Moses and Ben get very competitive.
Very.
Like, guys, fucking relax, right? We're going to figure this shit out.
You're doing it all wrong.
You don't understand. If we don't solve it, do you know what happens after? I can't sleep.
You lose sleep over this, over escape rooms.
And I think our most memorable escape room experience will segue perfectly into this week's episode.
Oh, for real, yeah.
Is we did an escape room. What was her name? Haley?
Haley, yes.
In Memphis.
Someone else. I can't remember right now. What was the story?
It's Haley. Her name is
No,
Haley.
I'm saying the story.
So it was two escape rooms that were very near each other.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe like a 15, 20-minute drive. Haley was our salesperson, I guess you would say, at the first one. Sold us a second escape room at the same place. And then sold us a third one at the
other location.
At the sister location. And when we finished that one and we beat it and they let you out, she was waiting for us there.
On the other side of the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yep.
So she drove
customer service
from the first spot and was at the end of once the doors opened, Haley was right there and we were all like bugged out.
Like,
She went the extra mile, took the 15-minute drive just to see us come out of the escape room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And gave us free shirts.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was thank you. You're welcome.
Ben was like, "You gave us all these escape rooms. How much more can I get out of you?" After
some
many
t-shirts.
discounts we did get, though. That's
Yeah,
the one
they
thing
were
that they always do.
giving-
They know how to upsell you after each room.
30% off each one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they were still serving us because they knew that we wanted more.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Mhm.
They were perceptive to that.
They saw that we were
Oh,
all
yeah.
focused AF.
They saw Moses' very excited face. And we're
They
like,
looked at me and were like, "That guy's not leaving until he gets another room."
They were watching on the video, man. They were like, "Man, this guy. We could probably sell him another
We gotta
room."
talk to this guy. He's our target.
Anyway, you guys ready to start this podcast? I don't think we started yet. You guys ready to
Yeah.
start?
We're ready.
Yeah, we were
Yep.
ready. Let's do it.
Get it.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Focus AF podcast. My name is Ben,
I am Karis.
"This is Jen."
This is Ro.
and we have.
Moses.
And Stephanie.
Can I say my name again?
No,
Go
you may not. So, what are we talking about today?
Prioritizing your client over your portfolio.
Portfolio or portfolio?
I'm tired. Look, the burgers, the wine. You know
You're
what I
welcome.
mean.
All right, do it again.
If she gets to do it again, I got to say my name again.
All right. Today we are talking about prioritizing your client over your portfolio.
So, what do you mean by that?
So, what I mean by that, today I think we're going to be talking more on the creative/service side. I think there's a huge trend, not so much anymore, I'm not sure, mostly because I don't follow Facebook groups and things like that as much, but photographers that they gear a lot more towards creating their wow images on their portfolio and missing a lot of the really important stuff that their clients want, which is
Award chasing as well.
yeah, more award chasing, getting these epic, like creative portraits that their client might not that appreciate that much. And sometimes it kind of makes them fall off of what they really should be taking care of, which is the client.
You know, I do feel like some of these photographers, they'll tell you that they're not chasing awards, but I think what they might be chasing instead is affirmation that they are
From peers.
yeah, from peers, affirmation that like or validation rather, that they're good at what they do. You know, they need that reassurance that they belong. You know what I mean? So those awards is one way that they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the bragging rights too. You know, the same way that, you know, this came up in a Facebook group recently, you know, like some people waving around these invoices that they get from IPS sales, like bragging rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think a lot of these photographers, they are chasing validation more so than the awards itself. You know, because like what's the award accomplished for them? Bragging rights, right?
It's more for self-fulfillment for some people.
Right. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
you know, because like, why do we submit for awards? Even WPPI awards and stuff like that. You know, it's like, you know, it makes us feel good like, hey, we belong. We are good at what we do. It's nice to be recognized for your contributions to the world of art and wedding photography. I think that's why people submit for awards and they shoot for that. But I don't think necessarily that it's always the case. Some people are shooting for the clients, and then if they happen to have an image that they feel is super strong, they'll submit it for awards just to get some more validation. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think that's okay. That's what I do. But I'm not prioritizing me getting like shooting for awards.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like, you know, as I'm shooting a wedding and I create an image that I feel could, you know, do well in a competition, then I'm happy that I captured it. But at the end of the day, what's my priority is what my client needs. The awards is secondary to me. What it's done for me, it's helped me push my like creativity a little bit forward. You start to see like what other people are submitting, and some people are just doing stuff that are just next level.
Mm-hmm.
And just even by participating in these competitions, kind of opens your eyes to what other people are, you know, creating. So for me, it's always been like, all right, how can I elevate my work to the next level? Competitions, it's a good way of doing that.
Yeah, I think so too. To push your work
Mm-hmm.
a little bit further.
But it can also set you back as well.
Well, like financially?
not-
'Cause these things
not-
are
not financially,
Shooting like 10 images.
But you start to forget why you're there, you know, at the
Mhm.
wedding, like why they hired you. If you're constantly trying to chase those awards, like you're
Well,
trying
even for likes and stuff, likes and social media validation, you know? You're shooting stuff because you think it's going to get you a lot of likes.
yeah.
you know?
I feel like we're all guilty of that at some point. When Instagram first came out, and you're no longer posting stuff for your client, you're posting stuff like you said for validation of other peers.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get over that, though, like I feel like most of us have like gone past that stage, like at some point.
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of remember like what the whole purpose is of the way you treat your clients.
Mm-hmm.
I think the important thing is to know what I did, not to spend so much time wanting to create those wow images and forgetting to do the safe stuff, the traditional stuff. Because we've heard from clients kind of complain about their photographers in the past about like, they did all of this, but I really wanted this safe shot, this clean shot of this, and I have none of that. It's like all this weird creative angles and things that are not something that they're really looking for. I mean, if they hired you for some specific style or image that they've seen before, then yes, but the whole gallery or the whole day shouldn't be reflective mostly on that kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take into account what's really important and not just trying to cloud chase.
Mm-hmm. But also on the flip side of that, right? I know this sounds very counterintuitive to what we're talking about right now, but for the first, I guess, 7, 8 years of our career, we were shooting for the clients. Whatever the clients wanted, we shot it. We did make a lot of money. However, at the end of the day, we were very burnt out because the thing was sometimes what the clients wanted didn't align with how we wanted to create. We got into this line of work because we enjoyed what we did or what we do. It was a creative outlet for us. We were able to create on our terms. But like sometimes when you have clients who don't align with what you're trying to do and you're just shooting for a paycheck, that could be a little draining sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's when you're a photographer and not an artist for the day.
So like, and I was telling Moses this earlier when he was barbecuing those, 100 sliders. For lunch.
110, Ben. 110.
He was 110. Yeah, I was okay. So, no, I was telling him like, when we did our workshop with our favorite Mexican photographer. He is Mexican, I think. Right?
He's an actual Mexican.
Who's that?
Huh?
Who you talking about?
Mr. Waristi.
Okay.
So he said, you shoot for yourself. You should shoot for yourself.
He's always been huge on that. Like I've listened to so many podcasts or interviews, and he's very, very like he voices his opinions on award chasing, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't care about it
Mm-hmm.
at all. It's
It's about authenticity in your work, right? So I guess where do we find a balance between serving your clients and also serving yourself in that way? Like that you are being authentic to yourself, your brand, and the work that you produce,
I think you have to think of like, is the award chasing bringing you a return in any way?
Financial return or
Yeah,
like emotional, spiritual?
I feel like everything, but mainly I feel like people are doing that because they think it'll bring them a return financially. Like it'll be more appealing to someone browsing their website and seeing like, oh my God, this is an award-winning photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that really works
Mm-hmm.
on clients?
I mean, you were the Grandmaster #1.
No, I won first place for my category.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a big thing, but it did nothing for me in my career. It's more of like a pat on the back in the industry. Felt great. I felt that I accomplished something and I got a little recognition, but it did nothing for me to get extra bookings. So a lot of people chase awards, but they have no way of like leveraging it.
Mm-hmm.
And by showing that you've won all these awards, I don't think it does anything.
Yeah.
The not award is probably worth more than what I won, to be honest.
I got a wedding wire one, which is not as
Yeah. And I feel like until awards become that, I think most people won't really care about them until then.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that do, they're either trying to push some type of workshop or trying to educate it in the industry. So for them, it's validation among their peers.
You need to serve the clients first and foremost. So how do you best serve your clients, right? Well, you best serve them by being the best version of yourself, delivering the best version of yourself. So there is a way, and I think Moses talked about this earlier when he was grilling those 110 burgers out there. There is a way to do both. That you can serve your clients while being authentic to your own brand and how you want to shoot. Doing things your way. And I think the best way that you can do this is by putting yourself out there that this is what you serve. I'm really good at serving this. And if you like it, come on board. Let's work together. And I think both people will win in that situation, right? However, I think where you might have potential conflict is when you bring on board clients who are not a good fit for your brand and how you do things and things like that, right? You're just working for a paycheck. That's the case, that stuff is not in alignment, right? You might be shooting for awards and they don't care about that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might have clients that want a certain type of look for their images, right? But you don't deliver that. You guys are going to be out of alignment. That's how you're not serving your clients.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get unhappy clients.
Yeah, not just shooting for awards, but shooting for other photographers. I feel like people do all the time. They're like, so they can post it in a Facebook group and get like, oh, look what you did with this new Magmod light, or like whatever the case may be. And
We don't talk about Magmod in this podcast.
You can't give them any free ad time, you know?
And I think you need to really just prioritize and think about like what you're showing your clients and what the expectation should be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not pulling them out for an hour of their reception to get this semi-ridiculous night photo that will not have any importance to them in the future, just because you want to add it to your repertoire and just show off to everybody else. Like
100%.
Yep.
It's I feel like a lot of those award approaches could be kind of like, it's an added value, but if you've detracted from another part of their day, it really has no value. Like if I delivered you an incredible night image, but like you say, it took me an hour to do and you missed an hour of your reception for it,
They're going to remember that.
they're going to miss all the moments that they missed out on.
Every time they see that beautiful image,
Yeah.
be like, we missed an hour of
Yep.
dancing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so did my
Somebody's
photographer
reporter was
because he was out
drunk.
here
Yeah.
instead
Yep.
of getting pictures of my
Yeah.
guests.
Yeah.
So I've always seen it as a value add, but I think ultimately, I mean, there's two sides to it. I think there's, for all of us, there's the artist side and then there's the business side. The business side is the side that's serving our clients, thinking like, what is best for them? And then you balance that by trying to get the fulfillment for yourself of being an artist. And then now you have to try to reconcile that. Ultimately, when you have a client, you're supposed to serve them. And I think having clear expectations, making sure that you know what your limitations are in terms of like what they're okay with or how much freedom they're going to give you, and knowing what they expect, you have to deliver on those things. You can't sacrifice those for your ego, and maybe not even ego, just because you want to win an award or because you want a photo to brag about, or just you want the self-fulfillment of an image that you think is awesome that you're proud of. As soon as you compromise your client's happiness for that, you are setting yourself up for failure.
You're being selfish.
And you're being selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely read the room. If like you could
Yep. Read the
tell
room.
your groom or bride are like anxious with photos or they're done with it, just be like,
Yep.
you know, it's not even worth it. You
Yep.
don't know how many times girls come up to me with like, oh, the shot's gonna be great. Oh, we should do this night shot. And they're in the middle of the dance
It
floor.
doesn't work out.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's fine. Like,
Yep,
I'm not
let
gonna
them
pull them out
be.
for it. Let them enjoy it. Like, I'd rather avoid something in the future of being an issue. Of like,
You guys remember how it was this past weekend? It was kind of drizzly over the weekend,
Yeah.
just a little
Yeah,
misty,
yeah. It was
right?
it was nasty.
Do you know how? Well, it was drizzly. It was like misty, right? Do you know
Yeah.
how gorgeous of a backlight picture you can create with
Of
that
course,
type of
because you have the fog as well.
It's
and like,
gorgeous, right? So anyway, we're getting ready to pack up. The cake's already been cut. Did not do a night shot, all right? But for all intents and purposes, I finished all my pictures already, right?
Mhm.
And I know for a fact that this groom said 8 o'clock on, we are dancing till they pull the plug on us. All right, from 8 o'clock on, I don't want to do anything.
Don't bother
Yep.
me.
Don't bother me, right? I was like, that's cool. We're done with pictures. All right. After the cake's done, right? My co-shooter's like, hey, you wanna take him out for a night shot? I was like, no. It's like, but it's so gorgeous out there. We can create some epic shots out there. I was like, it's not about me.
Mhm.
It's not about me creating these. Like, well, isn't that what you're hired to do? To create these epic? I was like, no, I'm here to serve them.
Capture.
And I
Capture
can
what's
create.
given.
I can create epic shots just by what's in front of me. I don't need.
you know
to-
what? Sometimes I feel guilty when I'm working alongside like a videographer and they're like, they come up to me and say, hey, are we going to do like sunset photos or we're going to take them out for a night shot? And I have no intentions of doing it, right?
I feel so bad. 'Cause
Yeah.
the last, you guys doing a nice shot, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I just kind of like walk
Yeah,
away. I
you
feel
know,
bad.
and number one, the opportunity is not there, right? It's not like sometimes, you know, you kind of have like a location and you're like, oh my God, I have to do a night shot here. It's gonna look amazing. If we don't have that circumstance, like it like where you can go ask them if they're okay with coming
Mhm.
out for that night shot, where it'll be 100% totally worth it.
Mhm.
And I feel bad because I like the videographer's hyped up and like, yeah, let's take them for sunset. And I'm like, they're in cocktail hour, man.
Mhm.
Like they're enjoying their cocktail. I'm not pulling them out. You can go ask them. I'm not asking them.
Correct.
You know?
Feel free. They hired you as well.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you
They
need to do
expect
it,
they
knock
want us
yourself out.
to go grab them. Like
Be the bad
d-
guy.
Yeah, I'm not touching. I'm not gonna
Yep.
go over there
Yep.
and
That's-
disturb them.
That's where reading the room becomes very an
Right.
important skill. You're serving the clients. You're not just doing something just to
Or
serve
unless
yourself.
like the client specifically like asked you, make sure like come get me during sunset. I want sunset shots.
Yes, that's
Then,
the exception.
Of course,
Yeah,
then,
that's
like,
different.
You have to go and like,
They're
hey,
expecting
by the
it.
way, yeah, kind of like tap them. If they don't want to, they don't want to. But
We
yeah,
talk about that a lot with our couples, and like one of the things we try to do is just kind of set circumstances, set expectations, and say, for example, like if sunset is during your cocktail hour, or it's
Yep.
supposed to be. Well, maybe
Yep.
we're doing a timeline review 2-3 weeks before. We don't
Yep.
know if we're going to have a sunset. It might be overcast. So we'll tell them, listen, if the opportunity is there, do you want this shot? And let them know. Like let them tell us.
Communicate with them.
You know, we're going to tell them, look, we're not going to bother you unless the opportunity is there. But if we come to you, it's because you told us you wanted it. But even then, feel free to say, no, I don't want to leave my cocktail hour or I don't want to leave my reception. Like the intention of us serving them first is always there. Even if I think best case scenario is like you had said, Ben, before, where there's kind of like a mutual benefit. They want the shot. We want to create the shot. We have the opportunity for it. Not that we have to drag them out there or that we're sacrificing something else that's important to them to create this portfolio shot.
On top of that, you could ruffle feathers at the venue. Like if you just take your couple out of nowhere without telling them the maitre d'.
I did that once.
Yeah, and you have to be respectful for they're trying to run a tight timeline. And if you take them out when they're supposed to be cutting the cake or something, they get pissed off. So a lot of times you just have to be mindful of that.
And on the venue note, respecting them and their property and their space.
And their house rules.
Their house rules. Like, yes, that shot may look amazing, but not if you have to move all the furniture in the room and then get like
I had this videographer.
a very upset venue
I
staff.
had this videographer say, hey, let's pop champagne in the room. I was like, no, we're not doing that in their bridal suite. I was like, you're going to make a giant mess.
What?
Right? I was like, no.
Wait, he's gonna pop it or just spray it?
No, he's gonna pop it. Hey, shake it.
Oh, we want to spray it.
spray
Yeah.
it.
No. We pop them all the time, but we're not spraying in there.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's trying to make it like a Formula One race.
Yeah.
Like they won the championship?
Yeah. I was like, no, we're not doing it. It's like, why not? The picture's gonna look amazing. I was like, it's not about that. Like just chill out, man.
Yeah. That's where we all get, like, photographers get in trouble at venues or spaces because they've done things they're not supposed to be doing.
Now you know why we can't get nice things.
Speaking of churches, why do you think we get yelled at all the time about churches? People
like
do
you.
not respect the altar. Not to get all preachy, but like, that's a sacred space. You do not need to be all up in there with your 35 millimeter, or you do not need to be on the ground pointing up to get the cheesy hand shot in a church. It's fine. Stay where you need to stay. It's not photos we haven't seen before. Respect the space. It's not about you. It's not about your portfolio.
You just gave me a great idea for next year's April Fools. You're hearing her first. I'll tell you guys later.
Oh.
Do not do anything in a church, Ben Lau.
I'm going to church and act the fool.
Gosh, I even heard there was I went up at the balcony of a church, and then I remember like the band members were looking at me weird, and then I asked one of the singers, like, is it okay if I could be here? She's like, yeah, it's okay, you could be here. It's just there's some photographers that actually get in our faces, like, while we're playing.
Oh my God. Yo.
And I'm like, oh my God, really? Like, yep, I feel bad. But he's like that because photographers has stopped the ceremony, the actual ceremony, to get an actual shot.
Oh my God.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
The nerve.
You're shooting for yourself. You're not shooting for the
Oh
client.
boy.
We did a wedding years ago. The bride had a whole big thing with him. She sent him home like early on. He was screaming at me and Jen throughout the day, like we were in his way or whatever. Very old school guy. And during the ceremony, he stops the rabbi and said, "Please move over here instead." Everyone was baffled. Like,
my gosh.
the bride looks at her mother-in-law and goes, "This is why I sent him home," And because she hired him, the mother-in-law hired the videographer without them like consenting.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want a video. If they weren't able to get the videographer they wanted, they didn't want a videographer, and that's what happened. So like, I'm not surprised people do stuff like that. I know it sounds like, oh wow, who would do that? And then you actually hear about it, or you actually see it, and this is why like
if the rabbi is off center, I'm not gonna stop. I mean, it annoys the hell out of me. If the couple's off center, right? It bothers the hell out of me. But
can you imagine that stopping the religious ceremony to tell the rabbi to scoot over?
Some people are just so ballsy and just do the craziest things because they want to get this shot.
They're like, you're welcome. Like, kind of attitude. I'm like, I had one video guy. I don't know if this was like helpful or not, but there was like floral that was actually, groom was tall and it was kind of like coming down, covering like his head. The guy is like, ceremony's well started. It's like he's like, should I go? No, do not go. I'm gonna go. And then he goes, lifts the thing, and he's like, you're welcome. I'm like,
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
are you serious?
You're welcome.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they make it about themselves,
I mean, to play devil's advocate, we were talking about this before, but I think that it's important to kind of talk through the freedoms that you might have always respecting the rules, which I think is probably the biggest issue. But if you know something is within the rules, good. Once you step outside of those bounds, you're creating a problem. Or if you know you have a certain freedom with a client to do something, that's awesome. But once you're pushing them outside of what their expectations were for your own ego, I think that's a problem. I think it just comes down to making sure that the client is okay with you doing what you're actually doing, and then it's an added value. I think what the photographer that Ben mentioned before, we all have a certain admiration for him, and I think it's awesome to just be able to do what you do, and clients hire you for that. But I'm sure that he's serving them by setting that expectation, and they want him to do what he does. If you said, if your client came to you and said, I don't care what you do, I just want you to do whatever you want, and you have that freedom, you're gonna go nuts. You're gonna say, cool, I'll take advantage of that opportunity as much as I can. I think the problem is when you lose that customer service aspect or that serving aspect, like we always talked
and
about.
that connection between you and your clients, like that communication needs to be clear. Like, this is what I do, this is style I shoot, this is how I shoot, and as long as you're all on the same, and agree, then fine. Like having that tribe, your tribe, they understand you, you understand them. It'll be the worst if it's a bad fit, you and your client. They're expecting A, but you are going to deliver B. Like,
Yeah.
That happens every now and then.
Yeah, angry couples.
I think that
and then we learn.
happens
We learn.
There's a miscommunication in
Yep.
the process.
Bad fit. Yep.
Or sometimes like your screening doesn't,
Yep.
somebody
Yep.
gets through.
And then
you know?
on the wedding day, they're totally different people. Yep.
They fall through the cracks. They could usually. I feel like when that happens, it's like a referral from a past client, something like that.
Or from Ben now.
Actually, no, I was gonna say that. I know we talked about this in the other recording, but I was gonna say that sometimes that ends up being an effect of the bridal party, which we've had circumstances where we meet with people and like they absolutely love everything we do for the engagement session. They tell us that to follow our style, follow our vision, that's what they want, and then we get there and the bridal party's making suggestions or controlling certain things, and you're just like, I know you're trying to be helpful. I know it's coming from a good place in your heart, but we have a plan. I didn't show up here and meet this couple for the first time,
I always want to say we could do that at your wedding when when your wedding comes.
Can we put the bouquet on the train? I think it looks really cool. My photographer did that.
The best is when the bride is actually like low key, doesn't like any of that stuff, and then you have the wedding party suggesting these things, and she's like, no.
We had
I'm
that
not
happen.
doing that.
We had that. It was hilarious. But this bridesmaid, where were we shooting? I don't want to say where we were shooting, but we were shooting this venue that's very unique. And so there's this big open area with a statue in the middle. And one of the bridesmaids starts grabbing everybody. Let's go take a picture in front of this statue. And this couldn't have been more than like 30 seconds after the bride leaned into us and was like, can you make sure we don't take a picture in front of the statue? So I see this and I'm like, I just put my camera up and I let them arrange what they're doing. And the bride walks out of the shot and comes up to me and she's like, I thought we weren't doing this. I was like, we don't have to. She's, this person is the one pushing for
I
it.
throw everybody under the bus. I don't know.
Yeah, Jen does. She's
Bridesmaids going under the bus.
Yep.
Groomsmen going under the bus. They're
I
all
even
going under
asked
the
them
bus.
in front of the bride, hey, she asked this. Do you want this? She's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
I love when Steph does that.
I do the same, like because it happens. You get a lot of requests. They don't realize that they're stepping on your toes. They're just trying to be like
trying to be
helpful.
helpful.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'll tell them straight up, like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Let me go ask them if they want to do it, and we'll do it. And I always do. And 90% of the time they don't want to do it. So then I'll come back and say, hey, they don't want to do it. I asked them, and that's it. Like it ends there. So you just gotta put the ball in their court, let them handle it. Because then you look like the bad guy if you're like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Like, just be like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. Let me go ask them real quick.
The customer service side of it is that even if it's not something I typically do,
Oh,
and even
it's
if it's not something that the bride wanted initially, but in the moment they're like, yeah, just take the shot. You do it. That you do what
Takes
you're
2 seconds
asked.
to take it.
And in the same vein, also, when you get those requests from your couple, if it's not something you've ever done, if it's a current TikTok trend or something they saw on Pinterest, we die inside and we have to do it, but just suck it up and do it.
Doesn't mean I have to show
it. Exactly. Again, you're
I'll take
coming
it,
from
then
a
I'm gonna show
place
it.
of service. So you be like, yes, we will do your request. What we won't do is accept like a link of like 100 images that they want to recreate, because then you have to explain like, you're hiring us for who we are and what we do. Give us your 5 months, like I will die if I don't have these photos. Like they have to be that important to you. And then we'll replicate those. But the rest, whatever happens, happens. But we're going to do what we do, but also at the same time serving you and what you want, but just not an encyclopedia of shots.
Yeah, we'll put our spin to it if
Yeah.
we can.
So what's the moral of today's story?
Don't eat cheese on your slider.
I don't think it was the cheese on the
Don't
slider.
110 sliders.
The moral of the story is to serve
Clients first.
Yep.
clients first,
Then yourself.
then yourself,
And-
photographers last.
But I also want to say it's not wrong to shoot for your portfolio either. Just do it in a way that you're not disregarding your client.
And then when you have that, like when you covered all your basic and like what you know you need
Yeah.
to, and then you have that extra time, then yes, go creative, go do all your things. They won't mind, but like don't make that your priority.
Yeah.
I kind of like what Victor Lax said at his workshop. He goes, one for you and one for me. You know, and that's how he approaches,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yep.
his
And
I
balance
shoots.
it out.
like the Bugs Bunny way better. One for you, one for me. Two for you, 1, 2 for me. 3 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me. I think I like that one better.
That's how marriage works too.
Facts.
All right. So this next segment is brought to you by the Focus AF Summit. Okay. So
He sounded so excited about that.
this is a good segue. Today's topic is a good segue into the sales and marketing segment. Talking about the curation of your portfolio, what you guys show online to get your clients. What do you do to curate what you show out there? Because here, let me tell you why I brought this up in my live earlier this week. Because I was talking to Moses about this too while he was grilling the 220 burgers out there.
It was the cheese, man. It was the cheese.
The 220 burgers out there. All right. So, I've come across a lot of folks who, they say, oh, well, I'm posting regularly every day. I'm blogging every other day, but I'm not getting any attention. I'm not getting any traffic. I'm not getting any kind of engagement, right? Now, number one, you shouldn't be posting for engagement or traffic anyway. But I mean, I understand why that might be important for some people, right? But if you really are getting like zero engagement, I would take a look and see what's going on in those photos that you're sharing, But in any case, these folks that were complaining to me about, that their lack of engagement, lack of traffic, right? I take a look at their work and the work's doesn't speak to their talents. That's the thing, right? They're showing pictures of like the rental shoes that came with the tux. I'm like, why are you showing those shoe shots, right? Like, what kind of mess?
That's that same picture where you have to desaturate the blue, right? That shoe that's so reflective.
The photographer's always in the shoe. You see it.
Like, what kind of message are you trying to convey by showing pictures of these, these fake leather shoes, these rental shoes? You know what I mean? It's one thing if you have like a special, I guess, a tie that the groom got just for the wedding day, or maybe special cufflinks that he got for the day. But if it's like these rental shiny shoes with the rental cufflinks,
Yeah.
Men's Warehouse.
Yeah.
Men's Warehouse.
and the rental tip-on bow tie, like that doesn't, I don't know how that's
You could shoot it, but don't show it.
Yeah.
that's not going to get you any. That's not going to get you any traffic because you got to understand like who's your target audience. What are you trying to convey to your target audience? Because the thing is, what I teach in my marketing is like you have to understand who your target audience is, what they want to see, what they want to hear.
This will be for Steph, since she's curating now for social media. And we've had plenty of conversations about, I think it became more of a priority when you joined Moses about what kind of clients you wanted to shoot, what kind of weddings you wanted to shoot. And we've had a lot of conversations about like what to show. So what's been the priority for you guys on what to put on
Do
your...
we have enough time for this?
your Instagram? So answer is Moses.
Let me tell you the Steph things. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you.
Moses,
She's
you
talking
leave
to
the
me
room,
right
leave the room. Go ahead, Steph.
I'll turn this off.
What kind of images are you guys trying to show, and what kind of clients are you trying to attract through what you're posting on social media?
It's more like what we want, like gravitate towards, like elegance, romance. That's like our target, but also like the moments. So we like that fashion. Like we like the people that, okay, I want to look good,
Yeah.
but also I want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like the target that we're trying to go for.
So no shots of the men's shoes, the shiny shoes.
No, you know what it is?
Negative 80 on the blue.
I feel like
Only when I was shooting for Ben Lau.
I feel like when you start showing details, I feel like then you start getting the people that care more about that than the moments. Then, you know, like that moment when you have with your grandma or your mom or your dad, you know, and great. I know that, not to bash that, because I know that brides, they take their time.
Some value that, yeah.
You know, to like, oh, you know, like I like this color, and they take their time to like pick out the look of the wedding day, you know, not to bash that. That's great. But like at the end,
That's not who you're targeting.
Yeah.
You're targeting folks who appreciate moments
But
over
also,
perfection
yeah.
and fashionable people.
Have a
Fashionable
good
things.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
They get people that dress
like
well.
Karis.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
As
understand.
Yeah, so you show that and you're attracting those kinds of people. Do you find that that's working? You know, you guys are getting what you're attracting?
I feel like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. I think she's done a really good job of kind of like balancing that. And then that has created a much better, target to our audience. And so we've kind of like, cut out a lot of the people who come in and are like, we just want classic shots. Or the people who are like, again, we do really appreciate the moments and the genuine, like authentic time that that they're spending at weddings, and being able to capture that. But kind of what we were talking about before, we also want to be a little bit fulfilled in what we do. And so having people that are like, listen, I really want to enjoy my wedding. I don't want to take 5-6 hours for photos, but we really need to capture these pictures that highlight how much effort I put into the way I look. And I think if you look through our work, you're going to see a good balance of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely been working.
What does Jared Photo do to curate their portfolio? What are you guys showing? Are you guys attracting what you guys are showing?
I will not speak because I watered down our brand. So you let me know what you'd like to show.
It's been too long that you've been doing it. So
So watered down, it's basically Miller Lite.
So we sell ourselves on not making a production of your day. So we're serving you first. We're capturing the story first, and the creative aspect comes secondary. You know what I mean? So we try to show a lot of moments mixed in with some creative stuff, so that they know, like, hey, if you give us, portrait time, this is what you'll get. But our priority is to tell your story. Are we doing a good job at it, you think?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we
and
are.
our website definitely has the copy and the images that speak to that. And for social media, it's gotten easier. I think we all, before carousels came along, you had like, what's going to be my one image that I'm going to post that's going to be incredible? And then that's when me and Ro would get into our problems, because he'd want like this creative shot. And I'd be like, oh, I want this moment. And now with carousels, it's easier to just kind of like tell a story in that one carousel post. So you'll see like his creative shot first, and then you'll see like mixed in with a couple of more like portraits and reception shots, so they can see more of a flow of the entire day. So that's been helpful.
But we also adapt to our couples. Like if there's a couple that, there's weddings where there's not much emotion throughout the day, it makes it a little harder to tell a story, but they're all about the portraits. So we kind of like, we'll adjust our style to like shoot more in an editorial way as well. At the end of the day, they still want to enjoy their wedding. They're hired us because they know we're not gonna be taking them out for a 2-hour photo shoot during their reception, and they just want us to just capture moments. Them, whether it's a moment with their family or a moment that they're not a part of. When they look back, they want to relive those.
Yeah, I think it's been a really long time since we misaligned with anybody's expectations, I think, which is good. Everyone kind of wants the same thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben Lau? What do you show?
What do I show?
Cats.
Lots of it.
Flying cats.
What I try to do is try to focus on moments and movement, composition first, at least lately. It's just, just basically composition first, and these people are just occupying that space. Because for a long time, if you scroll back far enough, a lot of the photos that I was showing, they all look the same. It's just the same song and dance, but different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is boring. It's got to be really boring to go through my feed. It's the same pose every single photo, right? So as of a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, like 2018 or so, I tried a little harder, tried to produce something a little different. And I think that's worked in a way for me to attract clients who also wanted something a little different, because that pose where you have like, not to poo-poo on anyone who does that pose, where you have like people that just belly to belly looking at each other and then looking at the camera or whatever it is, and then you backlight them. you guys know exactly which photo I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't really set me apart from, my colleagues.
Yeah, people have been doing that for 30 years.
So like, So
we do it all the time.
No,
yeah,
with
people
the
still do
back-
it.
Oh no, the belly, just the
Yeah.
belly to belly, looking at each other.
Yeah,
That's a standard.
Oh, but yeah. I
That's a
mean,
standard shot. That's a standard
That's
shot.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah,
No,
I can't think
it's-
of anything pose, right?
Yeah.
it's more of a. I feel like it's like a everyone's go-to.
Yeah,
At
I
some
mean, you
point.
have to get that.
You have
shot,
to get it anyway,
but
yeah.
I don't want to show that like for a series of like 50 photos, different
Right.
couples,
Yeah.
it's the same pose, right? But what I will say though, when I don't know if you guys ask this when you guys do your consults, the question that I ask a lot of my clients is, why did you hire us? Why are we having this conversation today? And the most common response that I get is that your photos don't look like anyone else's. Every picture is a little different. And also it looks like the clients look very comfortable. Your subjects look super duper comfortable in the photos, and that's how we kind of envision how we want it to look like in our photos. So I don't know. Do you guys go through a similar process when you guys interview your clients? Like,
Yeah.
hey, why did you? And they tell you
we,
why.
we always ask them, and the ones that basically describe our mission statement to us are the ones that we know they're a good fit. The ones that say, yeah, we just like your pretty pictures. Then we know that they're just chopping
Can't tell the
around.
difference, yeah.
Have you guys
Yeah.
ever turned down a client who might have been who was potentially a bad fit?
Yeah, not directly. We're just
Yeah.
like kind of like
You guys send them to Ben Lau?
no, we like got off the call and then told them that when if they come back, most of the time they don't come back because they're obviously not a good fit. But if they do come back, we'll just say we're just like no longer available.
hmm
Mm.
You turn somebody down, Mo?
Yeah, we turned somebody down one time.
What do you tell them?
Well, in that particular instance, we outright told them that we weren't a good fit. That it was basically what they wanted, what they were adamant about getting, specifically with pricing, was something that we weren't willing to do. And they were like adamant and begging, and you really should do this. And we kind of said, listen, we're not going to make you compromise on what you're hoping for. We're also not going to be able to provide it. So you need to find someone else. It's not going to work. And we didn't hear back from them after that.
So I guess the moral of this story is, as far as portfolio curation goes, show what you want to shoot. I mean, I think that's been the moral of the story for many, many years. Every professional that you speak with will tell you that. Just show what you want to shoot. If it doesn't align with your values and what you're trying to get as clients or whatever, don't share
Don't
it.
show it. Yep.
Like pictures of the guy's shoes that are rentals and stuff that are not even that pretty to photograph. Like don't bother.
Is that really the best photo? Like the whole wedding day?
Yes.
Like
Yes, it is.
That's when you're just throwing stuff and seeing what sticks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
don't post just to post. Have intention,
Yeah.
have purpose when you
Right,
post.
right, right.
You
Could
know
be
what I
it
mean?
too. Somebody had identified this in our business earlier in the career. But basically, show what you want to shoot is kind of like speaking into the future.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens a lot is people tend to post things that they know are going to make their current clients or past clients happy, right? Like, oh, I just shot this wedding. I have to share something from the image. Maybe nothing from that really aligns with what you're looking to shoot. Well, as soon as you post that, you're going to attract the same kind of client
Clients,
that just didn't work out.
Yep.
That's counterintuitive to do that.
Yeah,
So-
you gotta manifest that shit.
Yep. Do it.
All right. So, do you have any hot topics? Do you have any tea? I'm looking
Someone
for tea right
that we
now.
know
That's
that was responding to a second shooter calling, I guess.
Mhm.
And basically everyone was just putting their portfolios in there. And the primary shooter was, or the person asking was basically like telling everyone, you need to tell me why you're a good fit, not just post your portfolio. Does this sound familiar to anybody else?
no.
yeah,
You saw this, right?
we were talking about it with Blake from Brooklyn.
My neighbor. My neighbor. back in
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, so someone was looking for shooters for the next season, and the posting just had pricing. It didn't say it was for primary or second. But I know this person was looking for a second shooter. So then people were just started posting their portfolios, and she saw it as more of like a formal interview process. Like, is that how you go? Like, is
I
that
saw this. I think I saw this post.
yeah? Is
Yeah.
is this how you? How is it?
Apply for
Is-
jobs?
this is how you respond to an interview. What this person wanted was someone to explain to them why they're a good fit and why this person should
But
be
she should've
considered
then explained
for
better,
the job.
right, in her
Right.
post.
So that's what someone was like.
I have so many feelings on people that do like trying to build associate teams that way. I think it's garbage.
Well, it wasn't an associate team.
It's just to
Was
build a
the
second
pers-
shooter, like
yeah,
a
was the
roster of
person
second shooters.
looking for like a permanent second shooter or
No, just I guess
Filling
Have
dates.
on our
yeah,
list.
just to fill dates for the following year.
So this person wanted them to comment with like the whole explanation about why they should be hired
Right.
in a
Pretty
Facebook
much
post.
like a whole resume kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
typical.
people are,
Yeah,
So-
you could pick out of their portfolio and then reach out to them. Like, tell me a little more. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, I think the friction was that it came off as very entitled. Like
Mhm.
you're so fortunate to shoot for me that you need to
Tell me why.
you need to earn that by basically explaining why you're good enough for me to hire you.
right.
But
because
not-
the pay is like double the standard.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like for a formal interview, hey, I'm hiring for a second shooter. Can you please email me your portfolio
Right,
at
right.
blah, 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 blah.com
Include
and I will
these
reach out
things.
for a conversation.
Yeah, so I
Not
think
sell yourself in a Facebook post.
the context of where it happened definitely plays into it because it's like if you would have said email me this and that, but if you say, hey, I'm looking for, you're on Facebook in a Facebook group of photographers.
It's a wild, wild west
You know,
out there, man.
Yeah, the context has always been for as long as I can remember, and like we were saying before, I second shot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The context has always been I'm looking for a second shooter. Post your website. That's standard practice.
Practice, yeah. And I feel like it also opens up people to post in there. Maybe they do follow her rule, explain themselves, and then you're opening up yourself to other people to comment on your comment about, you didn't say this right, or what do you mean by that? Like you're just opening up to people to give you critique on your response when it's not even necessary.
Yep.
So
And the post was very vague. It was more like, this is the rate. This is what I'm looking for second shooters, the camera systems that they're looking for, and that's it. So people were posting their websites.
But I shoot Canon. But I shoot my Sony. But I shoot Nikon. I don't know if you're going to get the best candidates that way either.
no.
No, it's just wrong attitude. Didn't we say we were going to talk about attitudes today? Like people with attitude
yeah.
problems?
Yeah. Well, there we go.
You know, like
That's the hot topic?
Everyone's coming at this with the wrong attitude, you know? Just like keep your ego at the door, keep your attitude at the door. Come from a place of kindness, compassion, empathy. You put all that positive juju out there in the universe, it comes back to you 1,000-fold. Okay?
And if you're looking to hire people, that's not gonna make people want to work with you.
You're not being easy to work with. You can pay people triple and nobody will want to work with you. You know what I mean? Because you're such an insufferable human being. You know what I mean?
And honestly, this person's always looking for second shooters.
So
So
probably because you can't keep them.
yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Well, more of the story.
Be a nice person.
There we go.
It's always the same moral of the
And-
story.
and-
Have a good attitude.
Be kind.
Always.
you always.
Be kind all the time.
I'm just saying,
You and
it's
Ben will always
the
have like a
same
good ending to
moral.
wrap it up, and then Ro always has like something to add after. Like, here we go.
With that being said,
Every time. Ben will do a great closer, and then Ro and.
And don't make too many burgers.
sick of this shit.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that just about wraps up today's episode of the Focus Stay At podcast.
Thank you, Moses and Steph, for joining us today.
It was our
Yes.
pleasure.
Yes, and
Yes,
thank you for the
this was
300
fun.
burgers that you made for us.
Just going on.
Well,
Now it's time for our favorite part of the day.
The burgers keep doubling.
An escape room.
Escape room.
let's
Yes.
go.
Let's go feed some pigeons over there and seagulls over
With
there.
the burgers.
With the leftover burgers. I think we have about 400 left over.
We have more left over than what I made. How impressive is that?
Guys, thanks so much for joining us on today's podcast, today's episode. Hopefully you guys learned a whole bunch about curating your portfolio and serving your clients and, you know, not having the wrong attitude when it comes to your business. You guys can check out our bloopers and our highlights and all that good stuff on our Instagram at focused.af. You guys can also check out our website at focus-af.com, where you can check out some more information, where you can meet all the hosts. I think all of us are going to be there, right? Yes, we're all going to be there
Yes.
in January. We would love to see you guys there. So you can check out that information at focus-af.com. On that note, I think we're pretty focused AF, right? You guys good?
Yes.
Bye.
Let's go lock ourselves in a room and try to
Escape.
escape and not let Moses do all the puzzles.
Oh boy.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Adios.
Focused AF is a fun, business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams Ben and Karis.
And Jen and Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you focused AF?
I am focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.